This is Janey. She is Lisa's friend. She is not Lisa's friend. She regularly eats lunch with Lisa. She ditches Lisa for the new girl. She attends Lisa's sleepover and hangs out with her in her backyard. She goes to parties without Lisa and laughs at her with Sherry and Terry. She is looking out for Lisa's best interests. She mocks Lisa's core beliefs. She plays the clarinet. She plays the sousaphone. This is the history of Janey. So you might be wondering, why Janey? Of all Simpsons characters, why are we looking at this random nobody on the show? I mean, Sherry and Terry serve many of the same functions and are way more prominent. First of all, do you know who I am? Janey is exactly the type of random nobody that this channel celebrates. Secondly, unlike Sherry and Terry, her ambiguous relationship with Lisa is what makes her so compelling. She's typically thought of as Lisa's fair-weather friend, but how fair-weather is she? How positively or negatively have they portrayed Lisa and Janey's relationship over the years? Is she truly a bad friend, or does Janey get a bad rap? As always, let's go back to the beginning to find out. Janey is kind of like Ralph Wiggum in the sense that the concept of a Janey kid character appeared before the Janey we actually know. She first appeared conceptually in Season 1's Bart the General, when Lisa gets off the bus and offers a cupcake to Janey. This is obviously not the character design we are used to, maybe this is another kid with the same name, but the point is that very early on, the writers decided there would be a friendly girl named Janey in Lisa's class. In the very next episode, Moaning Lisa, we meet the Janey we are all familiar with, sitting next to Lisa in band class playing the clarinet. In the next scene, they're eating lunch together, as Lisa laments her situation. When the inevitable food fight starts, she asks her what she's waiting for. In the Telltale Head, Janey pops up once again, this time in Sunday school. She asks the teacher if her dog Pepper will be in heaven, and then asks why not. Now, unlike her dog, this version of the character has not been given a formal name on the show yet. So far, we have Janey and unnamed Lisa friend. Even though Janey and Lisa ate lunch together, Season 2 suggests that they weren't really that close, as Lisa moving away and dancing Homer doesn't mean that much to her. However, later, in Itchy and Scratchy and Marge, we see Lisa watching cartoons over at her house. Also, hey, it's Janey's mom. This episode is technically when she is officially named Janey on the show, as Lisa describes how she and Janey went birdwatching and saw a grackle. Yeah, Lisa could have been talking about someone else, but the whole argument is moot anyway, because in Lisa's substitute, it's made official when Mr. Bergstrom demands that Janey has to have a hidden talent. This episode also marks the debut of Janey's role as random commenter in class. She gets the opening line of dialogue, gossiping about Miss Hoover, and later declares psychosomatic means she was faking it. In Season 3, Lisa and Janey take their friendship to the next level, with Janey and several other girls coming over for a sleepover in Flaming Moe's. Notably, Janey has a lot to say about Bart in this brief appearance. She opens the scene by saying, "Your brother is so gross," and then dares Becky to kiss him. In the kitchen, she explains how now he can't talk until someone says his name, and ultimately makes the suggestion to give him a makeover. Basically, we can surmise that Janey either dislikes Bart, or has a secret crush on him. Maybe she just likes to see him suffer, as she's happily singing a song about him when he gets stuck in that well. In Separate Vocations, Janey finds the career test a waste of time, and later gets matched up with the job of architect. She tries to warn Lisa about going into the bad girl's bathroom, but Lisa the rebel sarcastically ignores her. Wow, the rare moment of Lisa being rude to Janey. Season 3 was a trip. From Seasons 4 through 6, we officially enter the Janey Dark Age, as her role on the show diminished even further. Like, she typically gets 3 minor roles per season, but now she's reduced to mostly background appearances. Here she is at Camp Krusty, here she is as a vampire, playing craps at the casino, at their pool. She does ask Miss Hoover to pass out Valentines in I Love Lisa, and in the Malibu Stacy episode, she makes fun of Lisa, thinking that sexist is a dirty word. Also, we get a couple rare appearances of Yellow Janey in crowd shots. Thankfully, Oakley and Weinstein came along in seasons 7 and 8 and brought her back into prominence, meaning like 2 or 3 notable appearances per year. Season 7 ramped up the combative nature of Lisa and Janey's relationship. In Lisa the Vegetarian, she mockingly calls Lisa her crazy friend that hadn't heard of the food chain, and later bullies Lisa by asking if she'll marry a carrot. This is our first glimpse of Mean Girl Janey teaming up with Sherry and Terry. In the dream sequence in Lisa the Iconoclast, Lisa bristles at the idea of Janey becoming president, saying she will fill the Supreme Court with boys. Clearly, the Lisa-Janey rift has begun. Although in Season 8, everything seems to be fine again, as they are happily reading The Babysitter Twins together. This is probably my favorite Janey moment, to be honest. How Lisa gets way too serious about babysitting, and Janey gets all weirded out, telling her to lighten up. We also learn in Lisa's date with Density that she doesn't have a crush on Bart after all. It's actually Milhouse, and that Uter likes Janey. This is a total one-off joke and is never ever revisited again, but this kind of explains a lot about Janey, to be honest. If Janey likes Milhouse, but Milhouse likes Lisa, maybe that's why Janey can sometimes be such a jerk to Lisa. If that is the case, then Janey sucks. Come on, you're letting the dud ruin your friendship? Janey needs higher standards. During the Mike Scully years, seasons 9 through 12, Janey continued being used sparingly. Many of her roles in this era highlighted how much more successful she is than Lisa. She's already on the football team, managing to score a touchdown before inexplicably being cut by Homer. She learns via the tappa method much better than Lisa. She sneaks out to see the blood inning with Lisa and the other kids, yet despite being arrested, doesn't end up on cleaning duty. She makes fun of Francine's shoes and avoids a beating, unlike Lisa. And of course, we have Larda the Dance. Janey is immediately impressed by Alex Whitney and ditches Lisa with the rest of them. Then at the mall, Janey shows off her new look. This episode is a nice example of what a follower Janey is by nature. She just wants to be one of the girls and go along with whatever everyone else is doing. It should be pretty clear by now that Janey's one of those bit players on The Simpsons that's likely never gonna get a spotlight episode. There's not really a chronological rise or fall of Janey in the second half of Simpsons history. So instead of tackling the Al Jean seasons chronologically, let's look at Janey's major highlights, her inconsistencies, and how things shook out with Lisa. I would say there are probably 3 HD-era Simpsons episodes in which Janey significantly affects the plot. And unfortunately, none of them really go well for her. First up, we have the fan favorite Mo Goes From Rags to Riches, where Janey plays the role of one of the many wives of the Persian king. After her amazing magic trick, Nelson immediately throws her into the pit of boring wives. Don't worry though, Lisa saves her in the end. Things go significantly worse for her in Treehouse of Horror 27, which opens with Janey and Lisa playing hide and seek in the backyard. Then she is run over by a lawnmower. Dang, what a way to go. Hey, all things considered, this is a pretty big role for Janey. She's upgraded to inciting incident status in the story. Finally, we have the season 27 episode, The Burns Cage, in which she auditions for the school production of Casablanca, but loses the part to Lisa. This one is extremely confusing because it can be argued that this isn't even Janey, as the character introduces herself as Jacqueline Jones and wears a scrunchie. The more traditional Janey hairstyle is later seen during the play. I don't know what the deal is with this Jacqueline Jones thing, because that's literally Janey with a scrunchie. Same voice, outfit, and everything. Honestly, Janey's whole name situation has always been kinda weird right from the get-go. For example, canonically, her last name is Powell, like here it is on her tombstone. In Simpsons books and media, she is known as Janey Powell. But for the life of me, I can't figure out if it ever appeared on the show in the early years. We've even gotten random contradictory info, like going by the name Janey Henderson in season 17 and Janey Jackson in season 25. Maybe Janey is an undercover cop like Martin Prince. We know a little bit about Janey's parents from random tidbits from over the years. During the Jacqueline Jones audition, we hear that her father owns a print shop, and her mom seems to have a weird passive-aggressive rivalry with Marge. When Marge buys roofie tickets, she lauds herself for getting the tickets while keeping her dignity, unlike Janey's mom. And in season 18, Marge is upset that Lisa's sleeping over at Janey's house because apparently her mom makes good mac and cheese. Clearly there's a Cold War brewing between the moms, and I can't wait till season 60 when the bombs are dropped. We know that Janey is a band geek alongside Lisa, as she is almost always seen in Mr. Largo's class with her clarinet. Sometimes, when Fat Tony's son takes over on clarinet, she'll switch to playing the flute. We've also seen her play the sousaphone in the marching band, and successfully sells Homer some band candy. It's so interesting how Janey can play 3 different instruments, and Lisa would still rather find a new clarinet friend in that one episode. Speaking of which, let's circle back around to the original question of the video and look at Janey and Lisa's relationship in modern Simpsons. In these later years, did they grow apart, or were they still portrayed as friends? Well, as mentioned before, Janey was officially called Lisa's best friend in that Treehouse of Horror after she was murdered. Over the years, we've got plenty of instances of the two of them hanging out. They're having a tea party that turns into a tug of war. She calls up Lisa to tell her about Branford Marcellus's car breaking down outside her house. They sing the Miss Lucy playground song together, to the shock of Homer. Lisa goes over to her house for a tea party, while Bart goes to a stink bomb party next door. At the end of Lisa's social media adventure, Janey comes over and invites her to play Marco Polo in the yard. Lisa invites her to go to the jazz hole together. In season 29, Lisa suggests going to an escape room that Janey hosted her last birthday party at. And in season 31, Lisa watches Janey be brutally killed like all good friends do. On the other hand, Janey was not too pleased about Lisa taking college classes, breaking out these sarcastic air quotes before rolling down the hill. In season 16, Sleeping with the Enemy, she joins in on Sherry and Terry's mocking of Lisa's butt. And even more impressively, joins the group pointing and laughing at Sherry and Terry's later comeuppance. Boy, that Janey is a regular Karma Houdini. After that point, we don't get that much negativity until very recently in season 34. According to the Treehouse of Horror, Lisa writes in her diary about how mean Janey is to her. At the end, Bart suggests Lisa could kill Janey to make her feel better, which Lisa considers. Then, in Step Brother from the Same Planet, she's doing a video scavenger hunt with the girls and needs a picture of something sad. She says Lisa wasn't invited because she is like a blanket that tattles and kills all joy. This ends up motivating Lisa to throw a private party for all the kids to prove them wrong. As a whole, Janey's track record as Lisa's friend is slightly better than I expected going into this. The show's status quo is that Lisa and Janey are on friendly terms, with occasional bouts of mean girl energy when the opportunity arises. I think that's the biggest problem with Janey, in terms of her character flaws. Janey is a follower and an opportunist. She's gonna go in whatever way the wind blows, and whatever is most convenient for her. If all the kids don't like Lisa in today's episode, she's gonna do that. If everyone's fine with Lisa, she'll hang out with her. In a lot of ways, I respect Sherry and Terry more than Janey, because at least they're straightforward and honest about how they feel. Janey has had plenty of chances to stand up for Lisa or take her side, and she never does. Unfortunately, Janey's one of those characters who is ultimately hamstrung by the writer's disinterest in portraying female friendships in the series, or at least on a consistent basis. Bart is always going to have Milhouse and sometimes Nelson. Homer is always going to have his friends at Moe's bar. But Lisa gets all those social alienation stories. When Lisa's feeling lonely, the plot requires Janey to disappear. If Lisa needs someone to talk to at school, there she is. When I did that breakdown of Bart's romantic history, I was thinking about how there is no Lisa Milhouse possibility for him. He has to date the guest stars because all there really is Sherry and Terry. Of course Bart couldn't have a crush on Janey, because she's barely a character. You put her in a Sunday school class in season 30, and literally every other kid in the room will get a fantasy sequence or speaking role except for Janey. Even Ooter gets one. Ooter. Somehow Janey is in both the Sherry and Terry tier of relevancy and the Richard and Lewis tier, depending on the episode. I remember when posting on a Simpsons message board back in the day, there was this one guy who was a big Janey booster because he thought she was underutilized. And honestly, that guy was right. The writers should have done more with Janey as a character. They missed out on a ton of stories and character dynamics that they could have done. They're currently in season 34, and the supporting cast of girls is Sherry and Terry and Janey. That's pretty bad. This is a show that somehow made Lenny a thing, yet the writers are totally incurious about who is this other girl in Lisa's class. Come on, guys. Also, wow, I wasn't expecting a Janey video to turn into a writer's call-out. I guess that's what happens when you look through dozens of episodes to find Janey doing nothing in the background. Let me know in the comments what you think of Janey and how she's been used in Simpsons history. Do you think she's been underutilized, or is she inherently not that interesting a character? With all the messiness on her details, I'm surprised I didn't end up finding her accidentally in Bart's class more often. Good job, animators. Also, as always, let me know who you'd like to see for the next Simpsons Histories. The three bullies and Sherry and Terry have been in the mix lately, as well as Cletus and Superintendent Chalmers. Also, someone suggested Santa's Little Helper recently, and that could be a fun one too. I definitely take everyone's nominations into consideration for these, so keep those character pitches coming. As always, thanks for watching.